Everyone knows that the best way to find true love is through a little app called Tinder.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
The mechanics are simple. Swipe to the right if you're interested in their bathing suit photos, and left if there are too many cats. But this is so unnatural, hunched over for hours, swiping.
But what impact does dating have on your brain? What happens up there when you see someone you're attracted to? Well, look no further to find the love of your life, because we found a way to swipe through Tinder using just your brainwaves. Hello everyone, I'm Harrison.
And I'm Colin.
And we are the BCI Guys. We build brain-controlled tech and teach people about neurotechnology. You know, Colin and I were talking, and we just think that dating apps like Tinder and Bumble just aren't quite superficial enough. I mean, you've got multiple photos to flip through, a name, a job title, 2, maybe 3 dry lines in their bio. It's just like, who's got time for all that? And at the end of the day, sore thumbs. Not fun. So we thought, what if we could detect brain signals that indicate attraction, arousal, surprise, stuff like that? And well, we built something and it kind of works.
Before we get started though, I want to give a big shout out to G-Tech Medical Engineering for sending us their Unicorn headset. The Unicorn headset is a great tool for makers, educators, students, and researchers. If you're interested in learning more, you can check out their website in the description below. With that, let's get started.
Okay, so I didn't really want to do this alone, and I wanted to get the female perspective. So this is my friend Zen. Thank you for doing this.
Of course.
Are you scared?
Yes.
You should be.
Let's do it. We are going to run 3 trials for each of us. The first trial will be swiping over stock photos entirely using brain signals that correlate to attraction. As we can control for more variables in this trial, this should be the most accurate at showing who we're really attracted to. The second trial will compare our actual swiping activity to our brain swiping activity using anonymized photos from real dating app profiles. We did this earlier in the day. In the third experiment, we will try to use unbiased brain signals to figure out what profiles are the most effective. Well, on us anyway. We'll be hitting all the profile stereotypes like man with fish, the this could be you photo, the prom photo she took 5 years ago, the man with truck, just a photo of a dog, and of course, a literal red flag.
To collect the brain signals, we're going to be using a brain recording technology called electroencephalography, which can be shortened to EEG. EEG detects electrical signals in your brain using small metal discs. These discs are called electrodes, and they can come in a variety of forms. There are wet electrodes, which use conductive gel to increase signal quality from the scalp, but are generally uncomfortable. Dry electrodes, which use no gel and are generally less accurate than the wet. Active electrodes, which use amplification techniques to create more accurate dry electrodes. And hybrid electrodes, which are a mix between dry and wet. The electrodes that the Unicorn Hybrid Black uses are special hybrid electrodes created by G-Tech, and when filled with a conductive gel, can provide a very high quality signal from the subject wearing the headset. When neurons in your brain communicate, they use electrical impulses. These electrical impulses create activity that the device can capture and be used for study or practical purposes. The signals themselves are incredibly small. EEG is completely non-invasive, which means it sits on the outside of the scalp and doesn't require any invasive surgeries or procedures to be performed to capture signals. Once the raw data stream is set up, the EEG signals are sent through a notch and bandpass filter in order to remove unnecessary signal artifacts and focus in on the signals that we're looking to capture. In this case, we'll be capturing P300 responses using the Unicorn Blondie Check software included in the Unicorn software suite.
The first trial will be controlled swiping, where Zen and I will be presented with headshots of 25 people, women for me and men for Zen. We will measure the size of the brain's surprise or attraction response and swipe right on the top 50% and left on the bottom 50%. We will control for as many variables as possible. The backgrounds will be light, no jarring facial expressions, and each photo will be a headshot taken from the shoulders up. Because of this, it should be the most accurate trial at actually determining our unbiased attraction level to each of the people we see. All right, I'm gonna strap it on and let's begin. So Zen here in the back picked a bunch of photos of women, gave me a bunch of headshots of women that I have not seen yet. So I'm a little scared, but we're gonna go ahead and run that through and I guess see who I swipe on.
So first and foremost, we do have to calibrate Harrison to the new picture set, but then we'll be able to do the P300 attractiveness level.
Let's do it.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and test Harrison against all the calibrated faces and see which one he ranks highest.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so according to this, Harrison's #1 swipe is right here.
Yep.
What would you say? Let's do the top 5 here. What would you say out of these top 5? Would you say that's pretty accurate?
This feels weird to actually pick. Let's see. Compared to everyone else here, I would say probably not, honestly. I think I would go for, it's weird, ID 8, 13, 23, 10. It's weird. I'm seeing, you know what's interesting though? I see that 22 and ID 1 are the same woman and they're right next to each other with a very, very similar score. So that's interesting.
Super cool, actually.
So it's showing that it is actually working. Huh. Well, who am I to say? Maybe these are my top 5.
The brain knows what it wants, right?
No, apparently, yeah. I don't know what I want, but the brain does, yeah.
All right, so now we're going to calibrate Zen's P300 response with the body check software, and we'll get into rankings and see what we get.
All right, so I kind of snuck a photo of me into the video, so let's see what happens.
All right. Let's see. So here we go. So now we're going to actually do the test. So we're all calibrated now. It's time to do the actual test.
Look at that. Pick me first out of all of those guys. Do you have something you want to tell me?
I think your software is broken because you're really not that attractive.
Let's see. We got a 1.3. That's a big difference from 0.2 in second. What's going on with that?
I was just shocked that you're not that attractive.
Brutal.
That was great. Okay, so it looks like, as you can see, a surprise picture by Harrison is ranked #1 on the P300 response.
Out of 25 guys, I would just like to say thank you. Thank you.
So Harrison was ranked #1. We're actually going to now talk about why that was and get a little bit into the science of the P300.
Okay, so I have to confess that I kind of set Zen up for this to happen. And no, this does not actually mean that Zen finds me the most attractive guy in the set. This was a real trial, but I manipulated the photo so that her brain would be more likely to pick it to show how we are actually making these selections and why this technique is an imperfect measure of attraction. To build this algorithm, we are using something called the P300 signal, which is a special type of brainwave that has this very, very large positive deflection, that's where the P is from, at around 300 milliseconds. So 300 milliseconds after the photo is presented, we're looking for and comparing the size of this response. There are other responses, such as the N100, which is a negative deflection that happens at 100 milliseconds, and the N400, which happens at around 400 milliseconds, and they tell us different things. All of these signals originate primarily in the parietal lobe, which is right here and known to be very important for attention. We are interested in the P300 response specifically because it indicates surprise or interest in what we are looking at. We compare the size of this response for each image that we flash on the screen and rank them by the size of that peak. Theoretically, this means that the person that we find the most attractive should have the largest peak, and the person that we find the least attractive should have the smallest. When we are flashing a bunch of pictures of people that we have never met, this works great because the highest peaks should indicate which people we are most interested in when we're looking at them. The problem is that this doesn't really work if you have prior association with the person that you are looking at. Zen and I have been friends for 5 years. She knows my face really well, and it triggers memories and knowledge she has about me. This means that her brain is going to have a larger response to me than the other photos, regardless of her attraction level, because her brain goes, oh, I know that guy. and I'm going to pay attention. I also cheated the system a little bit by putting myself over a bright white background with a neon green border to make the photo quite visibly different from the other ones. So, as you can see, this isn't a perfect measure of attraction by any means, but it does indicate your brain's initial interest in looking at a person. Of course, determining whether to swipe right or left on someone in a real scenario involves other factors, such as looking at their other photos, reading through their bios, and making assumptions about them. So in experiment 2, we're going to be comparing my actual swipes, which I did on Bumble, to the swipes that my brain would pick. So I went on Bumble and swiped right and left on a bunch of profiles, and we're going to take the percentage of profiles that I swiped on. So let's say it was 40% that I swiped on, and we'll take the top 40% that my brain picks, and we'll see if those actually match up. Ready to do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so here's the results from Harrison's swiping, and now here are the results from the ranking that the brain computer interface did. I wonder how they're going to match up. What do you think? Does it look pretty accurate to you from what you can tell?
Yeah. I'd say that's fairly accurate. Let's see what we got.
Interesting.
Wow, look at 4, huh?
Hey, look, the dog.
Yeah.
So
It's
it looks
working
like
for him.
dogs are pretty
Yeah.
good here in Zen's mind.
So it turns out that actually works, guys. Put a dog in your profile.
Or maybe a dinosaur.
I know, I like the dinosaur. I'm sad you didn't pick dinosaur guy. I kind of like dinosaur guy.
But this guy is apparently number 1. What would you say, Zen? Yes or no for this guy?
Probably no. Sorry, buddy.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what your swipes are. I like whole mask guy. That's
This guy?
interesting. Interesting choice, then.
Talk about a unique profile.
Yeah. And gentlemen, with the worst ranked photo there, I would just like to say it appears to be a terrible bathroom selfie from a bachelor party. It should be pretty obvious that this is a bad idea, but here is the proof.
Yeah. And maybe don't take a picture in a hot tub with
Your mouth?
another. Harrison!
I would consider that trial a huge success, but I just wanted to do a quick debrief. In this trial, we kept the proportion of right and left swipes the same as our real swipes on Bumble. On Bumble, Zen swiped right on 5 profiles out of 25 profiles, and I swiped right on 7 profiles out of 25. So the BrainBee app classified the top 5 of Zen's brain swipes and the top 7 of my brain swipes as right swipes, and swiped left on the rest of them. In hindsight, this may have not been the best method. Because we swiped right on so few profiles and did this proportionally in the brain swipes, most of the swipes would be left anyway, making a guarantee that we would get a lot of matches between the brain signals and real swipes. An alternative way that we can interpret this is by looking at where our real swipes ended up in terms of our brain swipe ranking. Because if you remember from the software, it is comparing all of the photos against each other and going from the most excited brain state to the least excited brain state in a lineup. For Zen, all of her real swipes are in the top 50% of her brain swipe lineup, which is really interesting. For me, however, this metric is totally off. Only 3 of the 7 real right swipes were in the top 50% of my brain swipes. Anyway, there are a lot of ways we could look at this data, and maybe we'll revisit this in the future. This could be you. Interesting. So I like the one with, what is that? Like 12 bridesmaids?
Horse Girl 1.
Horse
2.
Girl.
Closely followed by Twerking Girl. And
then, of course,
a literal red flag.
literal red flag. Well, that's to previous dating history, kind of accurate, but all right.
But what's interesting about this is it appears the more normal pictures are kind of the last 4 ranks, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like to you the more like especially the horse pictures.
Surprising and interesting ones.
Look at the horse pictures. Look how high those are.
Yeah, maybe because that's so different from the other ones that my brain finds it interesting. So there you go. There's a tip for your Tinder profiles if you're trying to attract me anyway, to make it more visually interesting. I don't want to see just your face. I want to see your life. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
So,
or be a literal red flag.
or you hold red. Yeah, absolutely. That does it for me too.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Wow.
The stocks Bitcoin guy comes in first.
Look at that.
Followed by lacrosse. No surprise there.
I just
What
want
do
to
you
point
think,
out.
Sam?
I just would like to point out rank 11 here.
Yep.
Hey, it looks like she doesn't like red flags though.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good. Or super jacked guys. Sorry, ping pong guy, but that's.
How could you do this to me?
What do you think? What are your thoughts on these? What are your favorites in this group?
I think they all make sense. You know, we got who doesn't love Steve Carell?
Yeah, that was the Office versus Friends little stereotype, you know. So you're an Office girl, all right.
Never seen either.
See, my personal favorite in this list was Santa getting vaccinated. I like that one. Or of course, sure, Colin.
Do you know the context of this original picture?
Do we want to go over it in this video?
No. I'm just.
You chose a Dartmouth player for lacrosse?
Look, he was the only one on Pexels. Okay?
You ranked him number 2.
You ranked
Yeah.
him number 2.
But it's
Yep.
Dartmouth.
After the Bitcoin guy, the crypto bro.
Since the P300 response is mostly used to measure the surprise response, it's important to remember that this swiper relies on our assumption that a P300 response is likely to be evoked when the subject sees someone they're attracted to. For example, imagine you're riding on a train home, just listening to music. You may glance up from your phone and notice someone sitting across from you who you think is very attractive. The moment you feel your heart leap in excitement should evoke a P300 response in your brain as your mind processes that hottie across the aisle.
However, P300 responses could also be evoked from other factors in these pictures. For example, if all photos in the Blondie check are black and white while one of the photos is in color, the color photo should evoke a P300. This is important to note because there are a lot of different factors which could directly affect the accuracy of the system we've created. It's not an exact science, but it's certainly an interesting look into how P300 signals can be used in practical applications in the future. So, what do you think? How did it go?
I'd definitely like to say that I was surprised.
You're
Definitely surprised.
Especially from round 1, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Unforgivable.
Did you think it worked okay?
Close enough.
Yeah, I mean, you picked me, so.
Yeah, but you would be last, so close enough.
So on the other end of it.
The other end.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was fun.
So what would you like to tell the horse girls of the world?
Call me? I don't know. I gotta say that the red flag thing was a little bit eye-opening. We're working on it.
I'd say it's accurate.
So, in general, Harrison, would you say that your results were fairly accurate based on what you could see?
Yeah, I think so. We've done this a couple times in trials before, and I think that it's pretty accurate. So
Yeah, it was a
And
great time.
you
Yeah, thank you so much
for
Zen,
doing it.
for
Thank you very
helping us
much.
out. We really appreciate the help.
Thank you to our cameraman Sam and our video editor Michael. And a big thank you to all of you BCI guys and gals for watching this video. Please help us with the algorithm by leaving a like on the video and maybe subscribing. And a big thank you to G-Tech Medical Engineering for providing us with this awesome Unicorn EEG headset and software to make this video possible.
See you in the next video.
If someone Googles me for med school and they see this video, I'm gonna cry.
That moment you feel your heart leap in excitement should evoke a P300 response in your brain as your mind processes the hottie across the aisle. Did I write that?
You did write that. That wasn't me. Hello, everyone. I'm Harrison.
And I'm Colin.
And we go to BCI.
Let's do that again. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. No, we don't like that? Okay.
That was fine. No, that's good.
What do we think?
That was good.
Hello, everyone. I'm
Sorry,
Harrison.
Just had to reset.
Hello, everyone. I'm Harrison. This is Colin.
That's just me.
And we're the BCI Guys. We build brain-controlled tech and teach people.
Before I do that, using the unicorn Honda. In this case, I'm gonna strap it on.
Strap it on.
Getting the strap on.
Are we okay with strapping on?
That's fine.
All right.
All right, good.
Yep.